Captain Maya Rodriguez stared at the holographic display showing the emergency message from Sylvanus Prime. The image of Princess Lyra Lay Moon Whisper flickered with static interference, her usually perfect elven features marked by exhaustion and fear. Dark circles shadowed her silver eyes, and her long pointed ears drooped with despair. "Please, anyone who receives this message," the princess spoke in her melodic voice, though it cracked with emotion. "Our world is dying. A terrible plague spreads through our cities like wildfire. Our people are falling sick and our magic turns against us. We have sent requests to every member of the Galactic Council, but no one answers our calls for help." Maya paused the recording and looked around the bridge of the UES Defiance. Her crew of 30 humans watched the display with serious faces. Lieutenant Amy Foster, her second in command, shook her head slowly. Engineer Casey Wright crossed her arms and frowned. Communications Officer Beth Martinez looked ready to volunteer immediately. The message continued as Maya pressed play. "The plague attacks our neural pathways that control magic. Our healers cannot cure it because their own powers make them sick. Our cities are empty. Our children cry for help that never comes. If someone out there has a heart, please help us. We are dying alone." The hologram faded to black, leaving the bridge in uncomfortable silence. Maya had seen the reports from the Galactic Council meetings. The Vorthon Collective claimed the risk of contamination was too high. The Aquatic Federation said they lacked proper biological knowledge of elven physiology. The Machine Intelligence Union stated that organic diseases were outside their programming parameters. Every major power in the galaxy had found reasons to stay away from Sylvanus Prime. Every power except humanity. Ambassador Kate Sullivan had stood alone in the council chambers and volunteered Earth's assistance. The other ambassadors had looked at her like she was insane. Humans were the newest members of the galactic community, barely 3 decades since first contact. Most species still saw them as violent primitives who had somehow stumbled into space travel. Maya's comm system chimed with an incoming message from Earth Command. Admiral Susan Hayes appeared on the screen, her stern face showing the weight of difficult decisions. "Captain Rodriguez, you have new orders. Earth has voted to send humanitarian aid to the Etherian Empire. You will take the Defiance to Sylvanus Prime with a full medical team and supplies." "Understood, Admiral. What about the other council?" "Members? They refuse to help. Some are calling it a suicide mission. The Vorthons are actively discouraging any intervention, claiming the plague might spread to other worlds." Maya nodded. She had expected this answer. "How bad is the situation?" "Really?" Admiral Hayes looked grim. "Bad. Orbital monitoring shows massive population losses. Their major cities are dark. We estimate millions dead already and more dying every day. Their distress signals are getting weaker." "What kind of support are we getting?" "Dr. Lisa Chang will lead the medical team. She is our best expert on alien biology. You will also carry experimental medical equipment and enough supplies for extended operations. Maya, I need you to understand something. This mission is completely voluntary. Every person on your ship can transfer to another assignment if they want." Maya looked around her bridge. Amy Foster stepped forward first. "I am staying, Captain." Casey Wright nodded. "The Defiance needs her engineer." Beth Martinez smiled. "Someone needs to tell the galaxy what really happens out there." One by one, every crew member volunteered to stay. Maya felt proud of her people, but also worried about leading them into such danger. "Admiral, the crew is staying. When do we leave?" "Dr. Chang and her team will arrive in 6 hours. You launch as soon as they are aboard. Maya, the other species are watching to see if humans are really different from them. This is bigger than just saving lives. This is about showing the galaxy who we are." The transmission ended, leaving Maya alone with her thoughts. She had joined the space service to explore new worlds and meet alien civilizations. She never expected to risk everything for people who had barely acknowledged human existence. 2 hours later, Dr. Lisa Chang arrived with her medical team. The doctor was a small woman with quick hands and sharp eyes. She carried herself with the confidence of someone who had saved lives across a dozen worlds. "Captain, I have studied everything we know about elven biology. This plague is unlike anything I have seen before. It seems designed specifically to attack their magical abilities. designed? Maya raised an eyebrow. The targeting is too precise. To be natural. Someone or something created this disease as a weapon. Maya felt a chill run down her spine. If the plague was artificial, then someone had deliberately committed genocide against the Etherian Empire. The question was, who would do such a thing and why? As the Defiance prepared for departure, Maya received one final message from Ambassador Sullivan. Captain, you carry more than medical supplies. You carry the honor of humanity. The galaxy expects us to fail or run away when things get dangerous. Show them they are wrong. Show them that when others turn away, humanity answers the call. The ship lifted off from Earth's orbital station and jumped to hyperspace. Maya stood on the bridge watching. The stars streaked past. Somewhere ahead lay Sylvanus Prime and millions of dying elves who had been abandoned by the galaxy. Behind them lay Earth and the hopes of an entire species trying to prove they belonged among the stars. Princess Layrayli had asked if anyone out there had a heart. Maya intended to show her that humans did. The UES Defiance dropped out of hyperspace at the edge of the Sylvanus system. Maya stood on the bridge looking at the screens showing the Etherian homeworld. What she saw made her heart sink. The planet that should have glowed with the soft lights of elven cities was mostly dark. Only a few scattered points of light remained where millions should have been visible. The orbital stations that normally buzzed with traffic floated silent and empty. Captain, I am detecting automated defense systems, Amy Foster reported from her pilot station. They are targeting anything that approaches the planet. Any response to our communications? Beth Martinez shook her head. Nothing from the orbital stations. I am getting a weak signal from the planet's surface, but it is badly damaged. Dr. Chang joined Maya on the bridge, her medical equipment already prepared. Captain, how do we get down there if their own defenses are shooting at everything? Maya studied the tactical display. The Elven defense grid was designed to protect against invasion fleets, not single ships on rescue missions. But the automated systems could not tell the difference between friend and enemy. Amy, can you plot a course through the defensive perimeter? Lieutenant Foster worked at her controls for several minutes. I can get us through, but it will be dangerous. Those defense platforms pack serious firepower. Do it. The Defiance moved carefully toward Sylvanus Prime, dodging energy blasts from the automated weapons. Amy's flying skills kept them alive as they weaved between the deadly beams. One blast came close enough to shake the entire ship. Shields holding, Casey Wright reported from engineering. But we cannot take many more hits like that. Finally, they broke through the orbital defenses and entered the planet's atmosphere. Maya looked at the surface through the view screen and gasped. The beautiful forest cities of the elves were brown and dying. Whole sections of the continent showed no signs of life. There! Beth pointed to her communications board. I am getting a strong signal from the capital city. Amy flew the ship toward the source of the transmission. As they approached, Maya could see the Royal Science Institute, a tall crystal tower that rose above the dying trees. Emergency lights flashed around its base. This is Captain Maya Rodriguez of the Earthship Defiance, Maya spoke into the communicator. Princess Layrayli, are you receiving us? Static filled the channel for a moment, then a familiar voice responded. Captain Rodriguez, you came? You really came? We are here to help, Princess. Where can we land? There is a landing pad on the north side of the Institute, but Captain, please be careful. The plague affects everything here. Your people might get sick too. We understand the risks. We came anyway. The Defiance touched down on the landing pad with a soft thud. Maya looked at her crew, knowing this might be the last time they were all together and healthy. Remember, full environmental suits until Dr. Chang clears the area. No one takes any unnecessary risks. The landing party consisted of Maya, Dr. Chang, Amy, Casey, and 4 medical technicians. They stepped out of the ship wearing sealed suits that would protect them from biological contamination. The air outside looked normal, but Maya knew that. Invisible death floated all around them. Princess Layrayli waited for them at the Institute entrance. Even through the protective glass, Maya could see how much the princess had changed. Her once perfect skin looked pale and tired. Her silver hair had lost its shine, but her eyes still held determination. Captain Rodriguez, I cannot believe you are really here. When we sent that message, we hoped someone would answer, But no one did. We received your transmission. Earth voted to help immediately. The princess led them through the Institute corridors. Maya saw other elves working at various stations, but their numbers were far fewer than the building was designed to hold. Many wore medical masks or protective gear. "How many survivors are there?" Dr. Chang asked as she set up her equipment. "In this city, perhaps 1,000 from a population of 2 million. Across the planet, we estimate less than 1% remain healthy." Dr. Chang stopped working and stared at the princess. 1%? That means over 99% of your people are dead or dying? Princess Lyrelay nodded sadly. The plague spreads fast and kills faster. It attacks the neural pathways that control our magical abilities. When we try to use magic to heal, the disease gets stronger. Maya felt sick thinking about the scale of the disaster. An entire civilization was disappearing while the galaxy watched and did nothing. "Princess, we need to examine patients and study the disease. Can you take us to your medical facilities?" They followed the princess deeper into the institute. In the medical wing, Maya saw sights that would stay with her forever. Elves lay in beds, their bodies twisted in pain as their own magical abilities turned against them. Healers worked desperately with non-magical treatments, but they were losing the battle. Dr. Chang immediately began her work, taking samples and running tests. Her equipment hummed as it analyzed the alien disease. After an hour, she pulled Maya aside. "Captain, this is definitely artificial. Someone designed this plague specifically to kill elves. The targeting is too precise to be natural." "Who would do such a thing?" "I do not know, but whoever did this understands elven biology better than we do." As they worked, Maya noticed movement outside the institute. Ships were approaching through the atmosphere. Large ships with the crystal hulls that marked them as Vorthan vessels. "Princess, are you expecting Vorthan visitors?" Lyrelai looked confused. "The Vorthans refused our request for help. They said the contamination risk was too high." Beth's voice crackled through Maya's communicator. "Captain, I am detecting a Vorthan fleet approaching. They are not responding to our communications." Maya felt a cold fear in her stomach. If the Vorthans had refused to help, why were they here now? And why had they brought a fleet instead of medical ships? Through the Institute's windows, Maya watched as the Vorthan ships landed around the building. Figures in environmental suits began moving toward the entrances. Something about their movements looked military rather than medical. "Princess, I think we have a problem." Commander Zara Christhart led the Vorthan team into the Institute. Her crystalline features showed no emotion as she looked around at the dying elves. "Princess Lyrelai, I am here to offer Vorthan assistance with your plague situation. Commander, your government refused our request for help. Why are you here now?" Zara's eyes flickered toward Maya and her team. "We have developed a treatment that should solve your problem permanently." Dr. Chang stepped forward. "What kind of treatment?" "I would like to examine your medical data." "That will not be necessary, human. Vorthan science is far beyond your understanding." Maya did not like the way Commander Zara said the word human, like it was something distasteful. She also noticed that the Vorthan soldiers were positioning themselves at strategic points around the Institute. "Commander, we appreciate any help, but Earth has already committed to assisting the Etherian Empire." Zara turned her cold gaze on Maya. "Captain Rodriguez, this situation is beyond human capabilities. You should return to your primitive world and leave galactic affairs to more advanced species." The insult stung, but Maya kept her expression calm. "We came here to help, and we are staying until the job is done." "I am afraid that will not be possible." Commander Zara made a gesture to her soldiers, and Maya realized they were now surrounded. The Vorthans had not come to help the elves. They had come to finish what the plague had started. Maya kept her hand near her weapon as the Vorthan soldiers moved closer. Commander Zara Christhart stood with the confidence of someone who held all the advantages. Her crystalline skin reflected the Institute's emergency lighting, making her look like a living statue. "Princess Lyrelai, your people's suffering will end today," Zara announced. "We have brought a final solution to the plague problem." Dr. Chang continued working at her medical station, but Maya could see the tension in her shoulders. Amy Foster had positioned herself near the door, ready to run or fight. Princess Lyrelai looked confused and frightened. "Commander, what exactly?" Are you proposing? Maya asked. The plague cannot be cured because it is too deeply integrated into elven biology. The only way to stop its spread is to eliminate all infected individuals. The words hit Maya like a physical blow. Zara was talking about murdering every elf on the planet. Princess Lyrelei gasped and stepped backward. You cannot be serious, the princess whispered. You are talking about genocide. I am talking about preventing galactic contamination. The plague could spread to other worlds if we do not act decisively. Dr. Chang looked up from her equipment. Commander, that is medically impossible. This disease only affects elven neural pathways. It cannot infect other species. Zara's expression did not change. Human science is too primitive to understand the risks involved. Maya felt anger building in her chest. The Vorthons had refused to help when the elves were dying, and now they wanted to finish the job themselves. Something about this entire situation felt wrong. Dr. Chang, what have you discovered about the plague? The doctor glanced nervously at the Vorthon soldiers before answering. The disease shows clear signs of artificial design. Someone created it specifically to attack elven magical abilities. That is an interesting theory, a new voice said from behind the Vorthon group. A figure in a Vorthon environmental suit stepped forward and removed her helmet. Maya saw crystalline features similar to Zara's, but with cracks running through the skin that suggested injury or stress. Scientist Nova Shardmind, Zara said sharply, you should not be here. I could not stay silent anymore, Commander. These people deserve to know the truth. Nova looked directly at Maya and Princess Lyrelei. The plague was created in Vorthon laboratories. It was designed as a biological weapon to eliminate the Etherian Empire. The silence that followed felt heavy enough to crush the room. Princess Lyrelei stared at the Vorthon scientist with disbelief. Maya felt pieces of a horrible puzzle clicking into place. You murdered our people, the princess said quietly. Commander. Zara moved quickly, drawing a weapon and pointing it at Nova. Scientist Shardmind has suffered psychological damage and cannot be trusted. The evidence is in the plague's genetic structure, Nova continued, ignoring the weapon pointed at her. It targets specific elven neural pathways that control magical abilities. Only someone with detailed knowledge of elven biology could have created such a precise bioweapon. Dr. Chang was frantically working at her equipment, scanning the plague samples with new understanding. She is right, Captain. The targeting is too specific to be accidental. Someone used advanced knowledge of elven physiology to design this disease. Maya felt sick as the full scope of the crime became clear. The Vorthon Collective had not just refused to help the elves, they had created the plague that was killing them. Why? Princess Lyrelei asked, tears streaming down her face. Why would you do this to us? Commander Zara finally showed emotion, her features twisting with hatred. The Etherian Empire controls the richest sectors in this part of the galaxy. Your people live on worlds that should belong to more deserving species, so you decided to take them by murdering millions of innocent people. We decided to claim what should have been ours from the beginning. Maya realized that the Vorthons had planned this operation carefully. Create a plague to eliminate the HFY. Elves then refused galactic aid to ensure no witnesses survived. The only thing they had not expected was humanity's intervention. Captain, Amy's voice came through the communicator. We have a problem. More Vorthon ships are approaching, and they look like military vessels. Maya looked at the tactical situation. Her small crew was surrounded by armed Vorthans, and more enemy ships were arriving. Princess Lyrelei and the remaining elves would be murdered if the Vorthons succeeded. Commander Zara, Earth will not allow this genocide to continue. The Vorthon officer laughed, a sound like breaking glass. Humans are in no position to prevent anything. Your primitive species should not interfere in matters beyond your understanding. Dr. Chang, can you develop a cure? The doctor looked up from her work with excitement in her eyes. Captain, I think I have found something. Human immune systems process similar viral structures differently than elven systems. We might be able to create a treatment that works. How long would it take? Hours, maybe days. But I would need to test it first. Commander Zara raised her weapon. This conversation is over. All humans will return to their ship and leave this system immediately. Maya looked around the room at her people and the dying elves. Dr. Chang was close to a breakthrough that could save millions of lives. Princess Lyrelei and her people needed protection from their would-be murderers. The galaxy needed to know what the Vorthons had done. No. The simple word echoed through the medical facility. Commander Zara looked surprised that a human would refuse her orders. You will leave now, or we will force you to leave. Maya drew her own weapon, followed immediately by Amy and the other humans. Dr. Chang, keep working on that cure. Everyone else, defensive positions. Captain, Princess Lyrelei said quietly. You do not have to do this. We are not your people. Maya looked at the elven princess, thinking about Ambassador Sullivan's words about showing the galaxy who humans really were. Maybe not. But doing what is right is never about who people are. It is about who we choose to be. The standoff stretched taut as both sides aimed weapons at each other. Maya knew her small team could not win a direct fight against the Vorthon soldiers, but they could buy time for Dr. Chang to work, and for the truth to reach the galaxy. Engineer Casey Wright's voice crackled through the communicator from the ship. Captain, I am detecting massive energy buildup from the Vorthon fleet. They are preparing to fire on the planet. Maya realized with growing horror that Commander Zara planned to sterilize the entire world to eliminate all evidence of the genocide. The plague had been just the beginning. The Vorthons intended to make sure no elves survived to tell the galaxy what had happened. Beth, can you get a message to Earth? I am trying, Captain, but the Vorthons are jamming our communications. Nova. Shardmind suddenly moved, tackling one of the Vorthon soldiers and grabbing his weapon. I will not let you complete this atrocity. The medical facility erupted into chaos as the two sides opened fire. Maya dove behind a medical station as energy beams flashed overhead. She could hear Dr. Chang still working frantically at her equipment. While the battle raged around her, Princess Lyrelei crawled over to Maya's position. Captain, there is another communication array in the lower levels. If we can reach it, we might be able to contact your fleet. Maya looked at the elven princess, seeing determination replacing the despair in her silver eyes. Can you show us the way? Follow me. As energy weapons lit up the darkness around them, Maya and her team prepared to risk everything to save a people they had barely known existed a few days ago. The galaxy had abandoned the elves, but humanity would not. Princess Lyrelei led Maya and her team through the Institute's emergency corridors as energy weapon fire echoed behind them. Dr. Chang carried her medical equipment while Amy Foster and the other humans provided cover. Nova Shardmind stayed close to the group, her stolen Vorthon weapon ready. The communication array is 3 levels down, the princess explained as they reached an emergency stairwell. It has independent power and should be able to reach past the jamming field. Maya could hear Commander Zara shouting orders to her soldiers somewhere above them. The Vorthons were searching every room in the Institute, determined to eliminate all witnesses to their genocide. Captain, Casey Wright's voice crackled through Maya's damaged communicator. The Vorthon fleet is moving into bombardment positions. I estimate 20 minutes before they can sterilize the planet's surface. 20 minutes to expose the truth and save millions of lives. Maya pushed her team to move faster down the stairs. They reached the communications level and found a sophisticated array of equipment that looked far more advanced than anything on Earth. Princess Lyrelei quickly activated the systems while Beth Martinez worked to establish a connection. I am getting a signal, Beth reported. It is weak, but I think I can reach the Galactic Communication Network. Do it. The entire galaxy needs to know what the Vorthons have done. While Beth worked on the transmission, Dr. Chang set up her medical equipment in the corner of the room. She had been carrying plague samples and experimental treatments throughout their escape. Captain, I think I have found the key to a cure, she announced. Human immune systems can process a modified version of the plague virus. If I can create the right treatment, it should work on elven physiology too. How can you be sure, Nova? Shardmind looked up from where she was helping guard the door. Human and elven neural structures are more similar than most species realize. Your doctor might be right. Dr. Chang worked frantically with her equipment, mixing chemicals and running tests. I need to try this on someone who is infected. Princess, are there any plague victims nearby? Lyrelei nodded toward a door at the far end of the room. The quarantine ward is through there, but the patients are very sick. I have to take the risk. Maya watched Dr. Chong disappear into the quarantine ward with her experimental treatment. Everything depended on whether human science could succeed where elven magic had failed. "Captain, I have a connection," Beth announced. "I am broadcasting on all galactic frequencies." Maya moved to the communication station and activated the visual transmitter. She looked directly into the camera, knowing that her words would reach every major world in the galaxy. "This is Captain Maya Rodriguez of the Earth vessel Defiance. I am speaking to you from Sylvanus Prime, home world of the Etherean Empire. The plague that has killed millions of elves was not a natural disaster. It was a biological weapon created by the Vorthon Collective." She gestured toward Nova Shardmind, who stepped into camera range. "Vorthon scientist Nova Shardmind has provided evidence that proves the plague was artificially designed to target elven neural pathways. The Vorthon government has refused galactic aid requests to ensure no witnesses survive their genocide." Princess Lyrelei joined Maya in front of the camera. Her royal bearing remained intact despite the exhaustion and fear in her eyes. "I am Princess Lyrelei Moonwhisper of the Etherean Empire. My people sent desperate pleas for help to every member of the Galactic Council. Only humanity answered our call. While other species found excuses to abandon us, humans risked their lives to bring medical aid." Maya continued the broadcast. "At this moment, a Vorthon fleet is preparing to destroy this planet to eliminate evidence of their crimes. They claim this is necessary to prevent contamination, but their own scientist has confirmed that the plague cannot spread to other species." The transmission was interrupted by explosions from somewhere above them. Commander Zara and her soldiers had found the communications level. "Maya, we need to go," Amy Foster called from the door. "They are coming down the stairs. Keep the broadcast running," Maya told Beth. "The galaxy needs to see what happens next." Dr. Chang emerged from the quarantine ward with tears of joy in her eyes. "It works, Captain. The treatment works. I gave it to 3 patients, and their symptoms are already improving. How quickly can you produce more? With the right equipment, I could treat hundreds of people within hours, but I need time and materials." Maya looked around the room at her small team. They had discovered the cure for the plague and exposed the Vorthon genocide to the galaxy. But Commander Zara would never let them leave alive with that information. "Princess, are there other ways out of this facility? There are maintenance tunnels that lead to the landing pad, but they would be dangerous." "More dangerous than staying here?" Princess Lyrelei smiled grimly. "Probably not." As the Vorthon soldiers reached their level, Maya made a decision that would define the rest of her life. Instead of running for the tunnels, she turned back to the communication station. "Beth, can you patch me through to the Defiance?" "Yes, Captain." Maya's voice echoed through the ship's communication system. "All crew, this is Captain Rodriguez. The Vorthons plan to destroy this planet and everyone on it. Dr. Chang has found a cure for the plague, but we need time to distribute it. I am ordering all personnel to evacuate immediately." Amy Foster's voice came back immediately. "Captain, we are not leaving without you." "That is an order, Lieutenant." "With respect, Captain, no. We came here together, and we leave together." Casey Wright's voice joined the conversation from engineering. "The Defiance is not going anywhere, Captain. We have a job to finish." Maya felt pride and fear in equal measure. Her crew was willing to die rather than abandon the mission, but she could not ask them to sacrifice themselves. The door to the communications room exploded inward as Vorthon's soldiers blasted through. Commander Zara entered with her weapon drawn, her crystalline features showing fury at the humans' defiance. "Your pathetic broadcast changes nothing, human. No one will believe your lies about Vorthon involvement." Nova Shardmind stepped forward with her hands raised. "Commander, I have already provided the genetic evidence to Dr. Chang. The truth cannot be hidden anymore." "Then you have signed your own death warrant, traitor." Zara fired her weapon, and Nova collapsed to the floor. Maya felt rage building as she watched the brave Vorthon scientist die for trying to save the elves. "Captain," Beth whispered, "I am still broadcasting. The galaxy is watching everything." Maya realized that millions of beings across the galaxy were witnessing Commander Zara murder her own scientist to hide the genocide. The Vorthon Collective could no longer deny their involvement. "Commander Zara, you have just confessed to genocide in front of the entire galaxy. The Vorthan officer looked at the active communication equipment with growing alarm. "Shut down that transmission immediately." "No." Maya drew her weapon and aimed it at Zara. Around the room, her crew and Princess Lyrelay took defensive positions. The final confrontation was about to begin. Through the facility's windows, Maya could see energy building in the Vorthan fleet's weapons. In minutes, they would fire on the planet and eliminate all evidence of their crimes, unless humanity could stop them. Dr. Chang looked up from her equipment with determination in her eyes. "Captain, I can mass-produce the cure, but I need the medical facilities on the Defiance." Maya made the hardest decision of her career. She looked directly into the communication camera, knowing her words would reach Admiral Hayes and Earth Command. "This is Captain Maya Rodriguez. The Vorthan fleet is preparing to commit genocide. We cannot stop them alone. If anyone in the galaxy has the courage to stand up to murderers, now is the time." The transmission ended as Commander Zara destroyed the communication equipment with her weapon. Maya and her team were now trapped on a dying world with only minutes before the bombardment began. But somewhere in space, Maya hoped that someone had heard humanity's call for help. 6 months after the Battle of Sylvanus Prime, Maya stood on the bridge of her new ship, the UES-AES Harmony. The vessel was a joint creation of human and elven technology, representing the alliance that had grown from those desperate hours in the Royal Science Institute. She looked at the tactical display showing their current mission. A distress signal had been detected from an unexplored system, coming from a species that no one in the galaxy had ever encountered before. The message was simple, but heartbreaking, just like the one Princess Lyrelay had sent so long ago. "Captain Maya Rodriguez," came a familiar voice from behind her. Queen Lyrelay Moonwhisper entered the bridge, her silver hair now adorned with the crown of the Etherian Empire. The plague had been cured, but it had cost her both parents and most of her people. "Your Majesty," Maya smiled at her closest friend and ally. "Are you ready for another rescue mission?" Always, when humanity and the Etherian Empire work together. Maya remembered those final moments in the Institute when everything had seemed hopeless. Commander Zara had been preparing to execute them all when the impossible happened. Admiral Susan Hayes had arrived with the entire Earth Defense Fleet, along with ships from a dozen other species who had finally found the courage to stand against the Vorthans. The battle had been brief but decisive. Faced with overwhelming opposition, the Vorthan fleet had surrendered. Commander Zara and her co-conspirators were now serving life sentences for genocide, while the Vorthan Collective faced galactic sanctions that would last for generations. Dr. Lisa Chang had become the galaxy's most respected medical researcher. Her cure for the plague had been adapted to work against other bioweapons, saving countless lives across dozens of worlds. The Chang Protocol was now standard medical practice in every major hospital. Captain Lieutenant Grace Thompson called from the pilot station. She was part of the new generation of officers who served on integrated human-elf crews. "We are approaching the source of the distress signal." Maya looked at the main screen showing a small blue world orbiting a yellow star. It looked remarkably similar to Earth, which made her wonder what kind of beings lived there. "Any response to our communications?" "Negative, Captain. But I am detecting massive energy signatures on the planet's surface. It looks like some kind of war is happening down there." Queen Lyrelay studied the sensor readings with concern. "Captain, the energy patterns suggest weapons that could destroy entire continents. These people are in serious danger." Maya nodded. "Red alert. All hands to battle stations." As the Harmony's crew prepared for action, Maya reflected on how much the galaxy had changed since that day on Sylvanus Prime. The broadcast of Commander Zara confessing to genocide had shocked every civilized world. Species that had spent centuries looking down on humans suddenly realized they had been wrong about who the real primitives were. The Aquatic Federation had issued a formal apology for refusing to help the elves. The Machine Intelligence Union had reprogrammed their decision-making protocols to prioritize humanitarian concerns. Even the proud crystalline hegemony had admitted that humans possessed wisdom that their ancient civilization lacked. "Your Majesty, incoming transmission from the planet," Communications Officer Rachel Stone reported. "Put it on screen." The image that appeared showed a being that looked almost human, but with golden skin and large eyes that reflected intelligence and desperation. The creature was clearly injured, and explosions could be seen in the background. This is Leader Arya of the Zenith Republic. Our world is under attack by the Void Empire. They seek to enslave our people and steal our resources. We have sent requests for help to anyone who might receive them, but no one has answered. Maya. And Queen Lorelei exchanged glances. The words were almost identical to the message the elves had sent during the plague crisis. Leader Arya, this is Captain Maya Rodriguez of the Joint Human-Elf Vessel Harmony. We have received your distress call and are here to help. The golden-skinned being's eyes widened with disbelief. You came? You really came to help us? That is what we do, Queen Lorelei said, stepping into camera range. When others turn away, humanity answers the call, and now the Etherian Empire stands with them. But you do not know us. We are strangers to you. Why would you risk yourselves for people you have never met? Maya smiled, remembering asking herself the same question 6 months ago. Because doing what is right is never about who people are. It is about who we choose to be. As the Harmony moved into orbit around the war-torn world, Maya felt the weight of responsibility on her shoulders. But she also felt the strength that came from knowing she was not alone. Human ships were already jumping into the system from 3 different directions. Elven vessels carrying medical supplies were close behind. The galaxy had learned an important lesson during the plague crisis. When civilized beings turned away from suffering, they lost something essential about themselves. But when they chose to help, even at great cost, they became something greater than they had been before. Captain, we have multiple contacts approaching, Grace reported. It looks like a large fleet. Maya tensed, wondering if they were about to face another enemy like the Vorthons. But the ships that appeared on screen carried the markings of the Galactic Council itself. Admiral Susan Hayes appeared on the communications screen, her stern face showing satisfaction. Captain Rodriguez, it seems like every time there is trouble in the galaxy, humans are already there trying to fix it. Admiral, what are you doing here? The Council voted unanimously to support any humanitarian mission led by the Human-Etherian Alliance. It seems that other species have finally learned the lesson you taught us at Sylvanus Prime. Maya looked around the bridge at her mixed crew of humans and elves working together. She thought about Dr. Chang developing cures for diseases that threatened innocent people. She remembered Princess Lorelei's courage in the face of genocide and Nova Shardmine's sacrifice to expose the truth. The galaxy was far from perfect, but it was better than it had been. Species that had once ignored each other's suffering now rushed to help when disasters struck. The weak and defenseless were no longer abandoned to face their enemies alone. All ships, prepare for humanitarian intervention, Maya announced to the fleet. As dozens of vessels moved toward the embattled world below, Maya knew they were writing a new chapter in galactic history. The chapter that began when humanity answered a desperate call for help and showed the galaxy what true civilization really meant. Leader Arya's voice came through the communication system one more time. Captain Rodriguez, how can we ever repay you for this kindness? Maya looked at Queen Lorelei, who smiled and answered for both of them. When you encounter someone else in need, remember this day. Answer their call for help, even when others turn away. That is how kindness spreads across the galaxy. The rescue fleet descended toward the planet, carrying hope to people who had thought they were forgotten. In the months and years that followed, the beings they saved would go on to help others in turn, creating an endless chain of compassion that stretched across the stars. Humanity had answered when no one else would, and in doing so, they had changed the galaxy forever.